Hello, everybody. How's it going? Can you hear me all right? It is a warm day here, so I do have the fan oscillating. If it becomes too much of an issue, I can turn it off. So let me know if that is a pain in the butt. So last week, my OBS just everything stopped working on it. So I basically rebuilt everything. So you might see that there's a new overlay here. So hopefully everything works correctly. The cameras work, which is like the main thing. The cameras were not working last week. I could not figure it out, so I had to like uninstall and then reinstall OBS, and it was just a major pain. So we seem to be working now, which is very exciting. Mr. Fish, happy Monday. How's it going? I'm going to turn on my other lamp here as well. That's better. Alright, so I will be completely honest. I have completely messed up her face because I tried painting when it was just way too hot. And today it is also way too hot to be painting. However, we're just going to do some stuff on the base. So it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, that was a dumb thing for me to do. I fixed it so it's a lot better than it was, but yeah, it's bad. So let's just move along, shall we? So actually, I was gonna put some texture paint down on here, but I don't think I actually need to. I think I can just paint it once I'm done, like, all the rest of it. That's what I think. So I'm gonna go ahead, and what I do want to do is I want to put some brighter highlights on the standard, and then clean up a little bit of the metallics on her. So like do her sword and her pistols, and then I'll do just a little bit of highlighting on the wrought iron that's in the rubble here. And then we're kind of going to evaluate where we are there. We've been in the 90s all week. It's been rough. My face hurts from squinting when I walk outside. Yeah, so it was... I'm just going to turn down my music because it's a little distracting here. It was up to like 38 degrees or something, which I'm not really too sure what the conversion is into Fahrenheit, but it's hot. And then I was sort of like asking people for advice, like, how do I paint when it's this hot and dry? Because it's dry as well. And people were like, get a wet palette. And I was like, yeah, but I got one. It's not fixing anything. Oh, and I'll also show you guys what I'm working on off stream. I'm working on a little gift for my Warhammer mentor. So I still need to do like this bony kind of carapace, I guess you would call it. But, and then I have to do the little claws and teeth and stuff. But that's where we're at so far. And this is painted to match an existing color scheme that my friend has. And I am always excited to paint stuff for him because it's the only time that my models are going to end up on a top table stream. And then I get so excited when I see them on stream. I'm like, oh, I painted that. That looks so good. So I always enjoy, and I like this paint scheme. I think this is really cool. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I had like a rough start to the week, but you know, we turned it around near the end. And we finally recorded the first episode of the Breast General podcast. So this week my task is going to be to edit that when, with it being so hot, I'm not going to be able to really paint. So so that's cool. I'm going to get that out at some point, either late this week or early next week. So I'm very excited to get this project underway. Mr. Fish says, I'm on a 2-game winning streak for Age of Sigmar, so definitely on a hobby high. Congratulations. I'm playing some Age of Sigmar a little later today. I'm actually driving to the next town over because I have a friend who lives there, and he oftentimes comes out this way, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta go out there. I gotta, like, return the favor. So we're gonna play 2,000 points. I imagine he's gonna be bringing corn. Blades of Corn versus my ogres. I gotta make a list too. Like, so not on top of it. That's 100 in freedom weather. Okay, so it's like not that bad for us. For us, like, we start really worrying when it gets to about 45. Yeah. New nids are so pretty. I do enjoy them. I do. I'm taking a little bit of like creative license with this, with like the little brain membranes and, um, yeah, this sort of lighter color here, was a bit of an improvisation, but I really liked how it looked when I started blending up to this kind of like bony color here. So I was like, I'm just gonna like throw it out onto these like wings that aren't wings. And then I'll do this kind of like bony color on the carapace and down the spine. So yeah, I'm really excited to be working on this one. Um, I'm glad that paint scheme doesn't bug you. Oh, was that a pun? That was a pun. Corn for the corn chowder. So funny enough, I think it was the last time we played Age of Sigmar. I threw, because I was playing ogres. I had actually killed Scarbrand and I threw him into like my pot of soup because ogres have this pot of soup. So it refilled my soup pot and I was like, yeah, I made corn chowder. And then I felt really bad that I made that corny joke, but I did it. Is it technically a hood like a cobra? See, I think so. It does feel like that to me, um, but yeah, I don't know. But it also kind of looks like it's bony in places, so I don't know. But, Tyranids are alien and hard to figure out. So, um, oh yeah, I also set up my Nightbot. So, well, I mean, reset it up. It existed. I just stopped using it. So, Nightbot will be throwing up some links for you to check out, if you are so inclined. So, let's get started. So I'm gonna start working on the standard back here, and what I'm gonna do is, because I'm not sure how bright I want to take it, so I'm gonna put a little bit of Iron Warriors. This is an old pot. She's almost dead, but I've got another one in the works there. And I'm gonna put some Lead Belcher into my palette, and I might actually end up mixing these two for the first layer highlight, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. Don't even have my brushes out. Here we go. So these are the brushes I've been using. I had a smaller version of, I guess I could put it so you could see it, of these Michael Klein Paintings signature brushes by Rosemary & Co. I had a smaller one, and I fell in love with it. Amazing. It's like the perfect balance for me of like springy and soft. And then I immediately lost it. Like, I have no idea where it went from my desk. So I'm going to have to make another Rosemary & Co. order. But until then, I'm also using this XDT that I got off Amazon. And I got a package of these ones. These ones were recommended to me by Dano Art, of like legitimate YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram fame. And the first one that I used, I didn't enjoy, but for some reason, this one is speaking to me, this number 1. So these are the brushes that I'm using, and then this is like I call it my oh shit brush. So for mistakes and for grabbing paint out of the pot, this is the one that I'm using. So let's go. Yes, corn. Mark of corn. How's it going? Let's go indeed. Also, since we've been talking a lot about corn, I just wanted to say that my beautiful friend Red Powell, Major Red Powell, he took World Eaters to the Lone Star Open and went 5-1, and I'm so proud of him because like that is a hard faction to play competitively right now because there's not very many options. Um, but he did so well. I'm so proud of him. He just freaking killed it. So, well, I just wanted to do like a little shout out for my boy. And he's also just a wonderful human, so. Hell yeah. Right? So proud of him. I can't wait to hear all about it when we record Forge the Narrative this week. I cannot wait. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up mixing these two, but I'm going to try the Lead Belcher first. And we'll see how that goes. It might be too bright, but I do know that the Iron Warriors would be too dark, so let's try Lead Belcher first. Also, this is very spindly. If you get this model, I highly recommend that you... Oh yeah, no, that'll be fine. I highly recommend that you don't put it on the model until you actually paint it. Because I made a mistake. I fixed it. I've broken it twice. So if it breaks again, I'm just going to paint it off the model and then glue it back on when I'm done. Major props on that one. All the best people play World Eaters. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of really great people play World Eaters. And did anybody check out the 4-way Primarch battle on Play on Tabletop? I didn't even know they released it. I mean, yesterday I was basically cleaning my house literally all day. But did anybody see it? That was my first and quite possibly only time that I will ever field Dark Angels. It felt really weird because I've been a lifelong Space Wolves fan. So that was interesting. But that was a really fun game. I feel like Dave and I just yeeted everything into battle and just died horrifically for it, but it was really, really fun. Hey Zen, how's it going? I hope that you're doing well. Okay, so doing this little Cadia nameplate might be an adventure and a half. Well, I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie. If I could just do like the side of my brush. This stupid skull is in the way. Why is there so many skulls everywhere in Warhammer? I feel like it's like, oh, we've got a spot. Like a minute area that we could put stuff in. Okay, we'll put a skull there. So, in a couple weeks, I'm going to be going to Boardroom Brawl, which is my favorite tournament. I don't even want to call it like a competitive wargaming tournament because people tend to just bring like wacky lists. I've also been invited to two other tournaments in August, and I think it's too much for me to be able to afford all that. One is in beautiful Alberta, and I would actually love to go. I just don't think I've got the funds to do it. But it would be fun. But I have to fly, and then I have to get a hotel, and I'd be going alone, so I don't really have any way of splitting those costs. And, like, who's gonna watch my dog? Probably have to put him in boarding while I'm gone. So just not sure, but thinking about it. Sounds like you have a bone to pick with the GW modeling team. Oh, yuck, yuck, yuck. So we recorded the breast general. It is happening. Um, we basically have had to concede that we have to use Discord and OBS in order to do this. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So then I go to start recording on OBS, and then like I have to basically update all of my video card drivers and everything. I didn't know it had two. It had two drivers. I had to update those before it would even let us record. So we're just like sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, why won't anything just work? This is ridiculous. Nothing wants to work for me. But we got there in the end. We in fact got there in the end. And now I have my tasks for me for the next couple weeks. Well, next week. It takes me a while to edit things, so don't work. Yeah. Yeah, don't work. That'd be nice if we could just all be independently wealthy and just not work. I oftentimes wonder what that must be like to just like be independently wealthy. Like I would probably still do stuff because I'm very like a very goal oriented person. I just like working towards stuff, but yeah. I will say that painting on stream has, I think, given me better brush control, because normally I would bring all of my projects up directly into my face to paint them really close. But I can't do that on stream because y'all need to see what I'm doing. So I've been like really working on being able to control the brush and kind of guess, I guess, a little bit about where the paint needs to go. Don't worry, I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I'll leave a bus when I go. Just one, so we'll have to like auction off the bus. Or maybe we'll do like a random lottery to see who wins the bus. So much more Warhammer time if I could make passive income. Oh my gosh, right? Oh, also, um, we have a sale going on over at Gear Guest Mech Shop right now. It's a pretty big one. So if you're ever thinking about picking up any of our orcs or one of our licensed lines, we have 3 now, which is exciting. We added a new one to the store this week. So we have Golden Dragon Games, we have the Maker's Cult, and Starpharaoh Foundries. So we've got a little bit of Xenos, we got a little bit of like counts as Imperium. Check out. I feel like when I'm ready to go back to guard, I'm gonna have to get like one of those Golden Dragon Games tanks, because they're absolutely stunning. Okay, back to the task at hand. Had my sippy sippy. But yeah, so the Breast General podcast is basically following me on my journey to see what I can accomplish, like to be a better player, not just like to play the game better. Obviously, that's going to be a goal through this, but also just to become a better opponent and to work through some of my baggage that I have from my pretty awful first experiences um, early on with Warhammer. And um, I'm just really excited to um, learn to love playing more. Like, I love playing, but going and playing new people is sometimes very difficult for me, because I always think like, oh, is this going to be like, am I standing across the table from somebody who said like some of those really awful things to me in the comment section? Like, is this a misogynistic person that I'm across the table from? And I'm really excited to really work on getting rid of that baggage. I think that's going to be really good for me. And of course, learning how to play the game better too. But what's interesting is talking to my mentor slash coach, because we've worked together before. And I consider him my friend, so he knows some of the stuff that I go through. And just sort of like hearing what he thinks is going to be like my hardest hurdles to overcome. It was really interesting. Things that I would not have even considered to be hurdles, but when he explained it to me, I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I think it'll be interesting to give people like a little bit of insight into competitive wargaming and what it takes to, go from zero to like maybe a hero someday. And like the kind of things that people who play competitively talk about on their quest to get better. Because I feel like there's a lot of competitive podcasts that kind of all do the same thing. They all just assume, first off, that you have like a certain amount of skill, knowledge, and understanding, you as the listener. They all just kind of talk about the meta. They don't talk about like more of the abstract concepts that go into learning how to play the game better. A lot of times they don't talk about like the actual tactics on the table. And I'm excited to talk about that kind of stuff because I find that stuff really interesting, and that is stuff that is not really like in the rule book, but it's stuff that you have to know in order to like, you know, get better. Um, I wonder when I could start using AI and the latest meta info to build optimal lists. Interesting. Probably soon. Do the Golden Dragon tanks have bottoms, unlike certain GW products? As far as I know, they do. I have not gone in and looked at the parts, but I imagine that, yeah, they've got bottoms. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Mubin! How's it going, my friend? I had no idea that you guys released that video yesterday, so I, like, logged into my socials. I'm like, why do I have so many new people following me? Like, I haven't posted anything. And then I was like, oh, that's why. Cool. Much like your rules shorts, there's not much out there that covers the basics of building an army, placing terrain, deploying. I think because the pro coaches want to charge people to get that information. Maybe. That very well could be. I mean, my coach is a pro coach, and I don't think that he has like any beef at all with sharing his knowledge for free, because there's difference between getting the knowledge, like getting the ideas, I guess, and like getting that one-on-one help to apply that information. It's very different getting coaching than it is to just watching people play the game or just watching videos and things. Oh, Alex, thank you for the buses. Everybody gets a bus. And I hope that you have a great day. Hey, Solar, how's it going? Oh, Moobin, I'm sorry that you have a headache. Working through headaches sucks. Like, I'm not good at it, personally. I just complain the entire time. But coffee can help. That's usually my answer to most things. Coffee. You were rooting for us, Solar. Amazing. Yeah, Mubin is amazing. I'm so glad that we actually got to play. I mean, in this game, this was our first game and we had to sort of team up, but I think we made a really great team. Mubin, I think that if there's ever a team tournament or a doubles tournament, I think that we should go, because I think that that would be really fun. We could be like Xenos buddies. But yeah, I didn't know that you guys released that video, and I was like, oh no, did I get an invitation to a premiere and I missed it? Because I very well could have. I very well could have. I literally spent the day cleaning yesterday and then doing my nails, which is, it's a big task. I'm glad I only have to do it once a month, but um so I feel like I missed a lot of stuff yesterday on the old social medias. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I might just tighten up the rest of the... Let's see if this makes any difference. Oh, it does. It's very subtle, but I don't want the rest of the metallics to like overshadow the standard and her. So I'm just going to use some Iron Warriors to just sort of clean it up, and then I'll use some Lead Belcher on some of the like more harsher raised edges, just for like a bit of an edge highlight, and then that'll be good. I'm trying to power through. It was so much fun actually playing together. We definitely make a hell of a team. Hell yeah. Hey, Jude, how's it going? The Gitman's coming to you live from this place that Umi's call San Diego. San Diego looks really pretty in pictures. I feel like I would enjoy visiting there. Halfway through your pot, I'm guessing your pot of coffee, Zan? I am... This is my end of my half of a pot, and that's all I allow myself to have these days. I guess they forgot to send you an invite to the premiere. Tisk tisk. I'll allow it, Mubin. You guys are so busy. Oh, look who it is. My space wolf. Hey, Lucas. How's it going, buddy? How's it going? Scratch your bum. Yes. Um. Oh, that's for solar. All right. Okay, buddy. You gotta wait half an hour, and then we'll go for a walk. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Let's put just a little bit of edge highlight, just a few places here. So just here, here. I got to meet another Instagram creator on Saturday. So one of my husband's friends is on Instagram. Her name is Susie Megatron, and it was just really fun meeting her. She's I guess like a professional miniature painter. She does commissions and stuff. And she's really fun. We had fun. We played Zombicide. And it's funny with miniature painters because the entire time she's like looking at the miniatures and like just enjoying the minis. And I think people who just play board games and don't paint maybe can't understand that feeling. It was so cute watching her. She's getting all excited about the minis. Planning for a combat patrol day tomorrow night. That sounds really fun, Solar. Um, Still a prohibition state for the other pot. Oh, that's so funny to me. I guess like living in Canada and actually being somebody who uses it for medicine. Um, it's so weird to me that like some people still consider it, well, some states still consider it like a controlled substance like meth. So funny. You see where I've broken this twice? Right here? Don't be like me. Paint it off the mini and then stick it on after. Silly Tanya. Silly! Okay, so I'm gonna mix up about a 1-to-1 of Iron Warriors and Lead Belcher. Nope, it's gonna be 2 parts Lead Belcher, 1 part Iron Warriors. And I'm going to just go ahead and paint just a little bit along the edges of some of the metallics on the base itself. Just to kind of give it a little bit more. That's too much. Too much, Tanya. Too much. Yeah, we're gonna have to go on and fix that with some just plain Iron Warriors. There we go. Let's see here. On vacation with my family, gonna be back to my original spot in the States on Saturday. Vacation sounds nice. Solar says, I played my first day for Combat Patrol. I see why folks say the Eldari are OP. I've not played Combat Patrol, so I have no opinions, but I want to play my guard in Combat Patrol. San Diego is gorgeous during the day. I would imagine, like, California in general. It reminds me a lot of, like, where I live. Just taller trees, really. Yes, yes. Lucas does want to go out and play. This is about the time that we go out, so he's like, what you doing? Let's go. Hey, how's it going, Mad as a Hatter minis? Spend half my games checking out my opponent's minis. You've seen my minis enough now. I think that you're just kind of over it. So we could just get to playing. Solar says, I got a group of 4 folks willing to try, so proxy time. Heck yeah. It is funny. I use the word prohibition to really highlight how out of touch with the present it is. It is kind of out of touch, right? Okay. Oh, I also missed a part here. So, lead belcher. Okay, let's get back to this edge highlighting. And I'm not going to do much. I really don't want this, I don't want this base to, like, overwhelm the mini, and my guard scheme is very, muted, so we're going to do just very little. I know I normally don't use a lot of weathering powders and things, but I mean, she is literally standing on rubble, so I'm thinking about it. I might do a little bit of weathering powder, like around her boots and things. I also need to figure out, because my guard is going to need a lot of work before I'll be happy playing it and bringing it to a tournament. So I think I'm going to need to figure out some sort of basing scheme for them. Because right now they literally just have a texture paint and like nothing else. Because when I created that army, I was chasing the meta hard. You know, like I will tell you, I did not spend a lot of time on bases because I just really needed to get things done. And I think if I ever go back to playing them, I would really, really like to up the hobby game on them. So I need to decide what I want to do. Also need to figure out, I want to stipple some paint on these floor slabs, like these bits in here, but I don't know what color I want to do it. I want it to be drab. I know that because I don't want it to compete with her. So I might do like a drab brown. We'll have to see. I'm gonna paint the base coat of the dirt, I think, and then decide. But I usually like to create some sort of contrast with the base, and so for her, I want it to be a warm color, but I also want it to be muted. Because I think the contrast between warm and cool, or warm and neutral, I think will be fine. That'll be enough interest, I think. Okay, so now I'm gonna do her. Well, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee, and then I'm gonna do her sword and her pistols. Digitman says, I recently was sent a Stompa all the way from the UK. Got it from a member of the 40k orc community named Alex, aka WWA. Nice. Now I owe him a pint for when I finally go to the UK. I would love to go to the UK. My beautiful friend Tom says, I'm painting Marines again when I should be doing Tyranids. I mean, why should you? If your heart says Marines, then do Marines, right? Okay. Let's get these weapons done. I also need to decide what color to do this. I think I might just paint it black. I missed that. Why did I miss that? Maybe I could do it red, actually. Yeah, I'll do it red. That seems cool. Also, I hate painting swords. I think that they're my least favorite thing to paint. So I'm just going to keep this one real simple. Might have to do this up close to my face. We'll see what this looks like when it dries, but I think I'm going to have to do some more fine work with this. I don't want this one. So I've got the Iron Warriors in my palette kind of watered down a little bit. So I am basically glazing this on, but this metallic is so pigmented that I feel like it kind of works like that. Is your podcast available to listen to on Spotify? It should be. Once it's up, I gotta edit it still. But it's going through Libsyn. That's who's hosting it, and they usually will push it out to all of the aggregators. So, you should be able to get it everywhere. Because I've started yet another new chapter. That's fine, Tom, if that's what the heart wants. Sir can't love the intensity of focus. It's my superpower. What can I say? Um, cute nails. Oh, thanks. I just did them last night. So, And I finally bought some colors that aren't neutral, so I feel like I'm back in my element with the bright colors. I actually painted them this color to match my squig, my Beast Boss on Squigosaur, because I'm going to a tournament, and I usually like to do my nails to match my army because I'm a weirdo like that. So, so yeah, this orange is the color of my my Squigosaur, so that's why they're this color. All right, let's get back to this mess. This mess. I hate painting swords, y'all. I'm just gonna be real honest with you. I hate it. I hate it. I was just looking at your nails too. Aw. Yeah, I've been sort of rocking the neutrals for a while, and so I finally caved and got, like, it's basically a little palette of nail colors. So, and this was the brightest one, so I was like, let's start with that. Yeah, I always need like a little accent. So I've been trying to like dress and curate a style that's like more reminiscent of my newer style of painting. So like a bit more bright and a bit more contrast and things like that. Um, I was gonna say these nails are so not Ursula Creed. They're not. They're not. I'd been rocking the neutrals for a little bit too long, but now I've decided like I'm playing orcs and my orcs are really bright. So yeah, that was my thinking anyway. With this whole changing it up, which actually playing orcs has been really refreshing. Because even when I lose, I like look at my army on the table and I'm like, yeah, that looks great. And I just get really excited about it. And I'm not going to do too much on the pistols. I'm going to clean them up a little bit because I got a little bit of paint on them. So I'm just going to clean them up. And then I'll do just a tiny, like, little bit of highlight. Okay, so now just a little bit of highlight. Just a little bit. Just a teeny bit. Not too much. Good enough. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit here. Okay, now good enough. Nails to match your army does not a weirdo make you. I think it kind of does. I think it kind of does. A little bit. Swords aren't so bad when you, like me, and simply base them in a silver color and make any changes to the blade casing. I've always struggled with metallics. So, and because this is just like basically a flat panel, I think that's why I struggle so much with them. And washing them with a black wash. I have a friend, Zan says, I have a friend who's not at all into minis, but she always gets great nails. I've become such a great admirer of nail art since I got into miniatures. So go get some nail art done. You don't have to have big, long nails in order to get nail art done. And in fact, like, if you can afford it and, like, getting manicures once a month is just, like, a really nice treat. It keeps your hands looking nice and it's fun. It's like a little spa day. Solar says, if you played Fulgrim and showed up to the game dressed like Prince, then maybe. Yeah, no, I don't normally try to dress like LARP style, but I like to wear like a piece of clothing or get my nails done or something to kind of match. Um, are there any new 10th edition Codex books out yet, or is it all digital now? So sure can. Um, we are in indexes right now. So right now the rules are all free to download off of Warhammer Community. And codexes will be coming out in the fall, I believe. And then you will have to pay for the codexes once they come out. So that's kind of where we're at now. It's the Wild West of Warhammer at the beginning of every edition, so it is actually a good time to start. I think more casual players are having more fun with it than competitive players right now, because sometimes competitive players don't like how weird and swingy and imbalanced things are, but I mean, that's why I kind of reverted back to orcs right now, because they're just fun no matter if you win or lose. And then I don't have to take it so seriously. But yes, we're in indexes right now. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of um, Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl Silver, which is super bright, and I absolutely love this paint. Actually, the Monument Hobbies metallics are very nice. So if you're looking for like a proper acrylic metallic, I think these could be the best. The Vallejo Air metallic paints are very good, but I think they're in a alcohol medium, which is sometimes a little bit tricky to get the hang of. Both are excellent though. As casual player, I can concur. Yes. Um, it's funny because my friend Red and I were both on the podcast. We were in the podcast group chat and basically like making fun of the other two, because I think it was Paul was asking like, who's having fun with the new edition, and Red and I were like, we are, and then the other two were like, well, I'm barely playing any games. We're like, well, if you just joined the casual crew, you'd be having some fun. But in all seriousness, like I know what it's like to sort of like have a faction and like want to do well with it and just feel like you're kind of struggling. I get it. I understand. Okay, I'm gonna do this edge highlight off the screen, and I'm sorry, but it has to be done because I hate doing swords. That's why. And I'm still struggling with like the heat and the dryness in my town, which makes this really difficult. But we're doing it. Whoops. But we making a mess. Competitive players are never happy. Honestly, though, like, I think Warhammer players are never happy, right? Because if the game is in a good place for competitive players, then narrative and casual players are not happy. And then vice versa. If it's in like a good kind of casual place, then like the competitive players aren't happy. So there's just always going to be somebody who's not happy. Because I feel like at the end of ninth edition, like casual players were not happy, but competitive players were very happy. And that's also kind of gotta suck. Like if you're like, game's in a great place, I just want to ride it out, and they're like, new edition. Like I could see how that could be really frustrating too. Oh, I hear my dog woofing down there. He's very talkative down there. Yesterday was really humid in LA, so I painted one of my medium-sized nids. Yeah, like if it rains here, I'm like, gotta go upstairs and paint. Which it rains for like 5 minutes at a time. So there's that. Oh, too much water. Dang. Let's fix that. Narrative players can make our own fun. It's true. Anybody can, though. Anybody can make their own fun. I will say, like, I just don't understand narrative play. Like, I get to the table, I'm like, okay, so, like, what's the goal? What do I do? Like, am I supposed to lose? Am I supposed to win? Like, what am I doing? And there's, like, really, like, narrative players don't give you any guidance. So you're kind of just left there going, like, well, what do I do? Is this the right thing? Is this the right decision? And I don't know if that's just because, like, I'm a bit neurospicy, so, like, I need to know clear-cut expectations. But yeah, I find it, like, extremely difficult to make sense of playing narratively. I've tried it. It's not for me, I don't think. Okay, I'm happy with that banner. the standard, I should say. Oh, I'm gonna run a little line of this silver here, and a little on the corners. What is a narrative player? I've heard the term, but no one will explain it to me. Honestly, I don't know how to define it, but it is usually somebody who creates a narrative, like a story, before the game actually starts. So normally they'll be like, okay, they find somebody to play with them, and then they're like, okay, this is the scenario. Like, this is not the mission, but like the scenario. And then they'll create army lists to sort of fit the scenario. And they might create special rules to actually play the scenario. And then they play it out. So for me, it's like, without having like a concrete idea of like how to play it, right? Because it's not a mission, it's a scenario. I'm just sort of left like questioning literally every step of the way. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? At least when I'm like, okay, I'm playing matched play. I'm like, okay, the goal is to win within like the bounds of the rules, right? I use the rules and I'm trying to win. But yeah, when it comes down to like narrative players, I'm like, or narrative games, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Narrative players can be just as much arses and competitive. Honestly, yes. But here's the thing: competitive and win at all costs. I think these are two terms that are interchangeably used, and they're completely different, right? Like, a competitive player in general just wants to do the best that they can, and a win at all costs player wants to win and also wants you to have a bad time. So that's the difference. So there are win at all costs players literally everywhere. You will find them in competitive environments, obviously, but you will also find them in narrative places, and you will absolutely find them in casual. You will find most of them in casual because that's where most people play. The percentage of people who are win at all costs is like the exact same percent of each of these demographics. It's just because casual players are the majority. That's like the majority of times that you're going to find these people. Zan says, I think that the Crusade rules were a really good start, but I would love to put in a bit more resource management for the campaign. See, I hate that. I don't like that. But I don't like that in board games. I don't like that in strategy games. I don't want to manage my resources. And in fact, I think that Crusade is fun, but I feel like there needs to be a casual. I don't think that Crusade is casual, right? Because there's a lot of effort that you have to put in before you actually start playing. At least in last edition. I haven't looked at the Crusade rules now. But I feel like there needs to be a more casual sort of format that has less bookkeeping. So Crusade has its own style of bookkeeping, which is fine. People love it. And then Matched Play has a lot of bookkeeping in terms of keeping score and all of that, which kind of pulls you out of the game. I feel like casual needs something that's more casual, that doesn't require you to keep track during the game, and probably just has like, this is like the end goal of the game. Turn 5, whoever has completed this wins. I feel like we could use that kind of style of gameplay. And the reason why I say this is because my husband and I just pulled out the open war cards for Age of Sigmar 2. And just sort of like played them in Age of Sigmar 3, and they absolutely work. And they're so fun because if you're just like, I just want to go play, let's pull out the cards. It gives you deployment zone, it gives you a mission, and it gives you some flavor, and that's like all you need. It's good. It's fun. You get your games up and sorted, and it's great. And I wish that they would bring that back. Let's see. Mark of Corn. Game. We need more pylons. What? I don't get it. I'm a pile on your face. I don't get it. Zan, casual versus organized. Yeah. Solar says, thank you for explaining the difference down this way. Whack players are pretty concentrated and very loud, but the language that folks use make things confusing. Yeah, so honestly, the most pleasant people that I've ever played are both in narrative and in competitive, and also the least pleasant people that I've ever played have been in narrative and also in competitive. So, yeah, I think it's not good to equate competitive and whack, because like if you won't play somebody because they're competitive because you assume that they're win at all costs, you could be missing out on having one of the greatest games of your life. And that is just the truth of it. Okay, so I'm running out of time. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to slap some what do I use on the bases? Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, dryad bark on for the different like you can see there's kind of texture where there's sand and stuff. So I'm going to slap some dryad bark on, and then I should be able to tell what color I want to do those slabs that she's standing on. I just want to like basically stipple on some color on the top. Nothing too crazy. In StarCraft, pylons are a resource structure for one of the Xenos factions. Ah, yeah. No! No, thank you. I used to be like a huge Fallout fan, and then Fallout 4 came in and had this like resource management, like build a town kind of thing, and I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I heard this Mubin guy is such a whack player. Oh my god, Mubin. Come on. You're like one of the most pleasant people to play. You are just pleasant. Solar says, most whack players I've met claim to be casual or not competitive, and whatever term it means for not that kind of player. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the whack players that you meet in competitive are whack in a different way than the players who are like quote casual and whack. It's just completely different. But the end result feels the exact same, where you're just left being like, why did I even play that game? Ugh, okay, I'm gonna try my best to just dot some color on underneath this helmet. Not gonna go too crazy. Nothing too crazy, because I'm probably gonna end up washing this brown. Mubin says, I just never did any of the settlement building in Fallout 4. Yeah, I probably should have just ignored it too. I'm just such a completist, you know? Like, I like to complete games, and it was such a big part of the game that I was like, meh. Let's see here. Mubin. Yeah, whack players are never a fun experience. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Um, Mubin also says, I like having expectations for my game set out in advance for pickup games so that it'll be enjoyable for everyone. Yeah, I think I am pretty bad at like having that talk in general. I need to get better at that. I need to practice it. Mubin says, if anyone thinks I'm a whack player, they clearly haven't played against me or have seen me play. It's true. You are a very gracious opponent, Mubin. I would play any game, literally any game with you, anytime. Kind of wish I didn't live so far away, to be honest. Kind of leaning towards, like, I might just do like an XV88 or maybe a bone color, an ivory. Oh, maybe an ivory, and then wash it brown on these slabs. That might be cool. Might be really fun, actually. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do ivory. I'm gonna just take an old brush, spatter some ivory on there, and then wash all of the base with maybe Agrax. Agrax might be a bit like too dark. I have a wash from Monument Hobbies that might work just as good. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. Solar says to Moomin, if the LVO happens where you, Tanya, Tao, Nick, and Tack end up there, I will drive over to bring you guys ice cream. Maybe play a combat patrol. We do love ice cream. We do. We love it. Um, if you didn't live so far away, we'd be having weekly games. Oh, God. Gosh darn it. Why does Canada have to be so big? It is literally just so large. The spaces in between are so great. It is hard to overcome. I do need to plan a day to come help you guys organize that terrain section, though. And maybe the downstairs back room. thing about bases is that they really don't have to be done well. You don't have to be super careful. You don't have to get in all the nooks and crannies. You just kind of have to slap some color on there and it ends up just working. Dan says, if anybody thinks I'm a whack player, they need to look at my record. No, you can be an awful player in terms of skill and still be whack. You can. With Army Painter Midtone, looks really good as well. Army Painter can sometimes be a bit shiny. I'm going to use this one instead, because this one dries really matte. So I'm going to use Brown Wash by Monument Hobbies instead. I think that it'll be like just enough to tone it down. Let's see, even on camera and the internet, it's extra proof. Thank God I'm stuck on editing projects. Yeah, you guys are just so busy. I figure like I could probably come down and organize those spaces for you. And then I feel like you would spend less time, looking for the stuff you need to like set up your battlefields. It would just all be there for you. Okay. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna grab like an old beat brush. Actually, this one will probably do. Yeah. An old beat up brush. And I am going to grab, not bright ivory, I just want regular. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use olive flesh instead, because it's like a bit more neutral. Yeah. So I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to stipple on some spots. Not too much, but just to like give the impression that there maybe was like a linoleum type floor or something on there before. Let's see here. And to sort of cover up a few of the spots that I have green paint or whatever on. And I'm just going to do it on the top. I'm not going to do it sort of in between because I want it to look like it was like painted or maybe linoleum floor or something. So what I'm actually going to do is, because I'm running out of time, I'm just going to wash it once I get the stippling on here into like a sort of tone that I like and get rid of this green spot here. I'm just going to wash it so we can see what it looks like. and see if that's what we want to do. Okay. Organizing terrain is useless. It lives in squalor by choice. Doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Like, all of the garnish can be in a bin. All of, like, the fuel barrels and stuff can be in a bin. All that stuff. Editing projects, which is what I should be working on. Yes. Look at her borders. They're so big. It looks like one of those rap guys' countries. So I also, Movement says, I also need to get 273 Tyranids fully painted and based. Yikes. Okay. So this brown is kind of more on the neutral side, if I remember right. But let's, and it's a little bit lighter than Agrax, which is my usual go-to. So let's see. We'll start with this, and then if I need darker, I can put Agrax on instead. So let's see. I'll wash around here as well. I might actually need to do Agrax on the earth itself. But we'll see when it dries. Or what I could do is some spots of Agrax. So not like a full wash, but I could do like a spot here and there. Let's see. I do like the brown wash on the silver though, but I think that on the brown, I feel like I'm gonna need like on the dirt, I'm gonna need to put Agrax on after. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna finish the base off camera, just because I feel like playing with washes is really boring to watch on stream. So I'm gonna let this little bit dry, and then I'm gonna reevaluate how I feel about it, and then she'll be done. Oh, I'm gonna do this little. I don't even know if you can see it. It's like there's like a little gold skull here, and there's like a little rope basically attaching it to her sword. So I'm going to paint that red, and then she'll be done. And thank goodness, because I am sick and tired of looking at her. I mean, she's great, but except her face. But I'm just excited to work on something else, because that face, like, this side's not too bad, but then you look at this side and you're like, girl, what happened to your face? Alright, let's get caught up with chat, and then I will be heading out to walk my doggo. So let's see. Solar says 273 nids, that's nothing. You can knock that out in a day if you clone yourself 4 times, lock all of them in the basement, and keep them fed. Yeah. Mubin says, also doesn't help that a friend bought me Angron and Kairos over the weekend. That's a good friend. Rob, you made it just as we're about to close it down. Well, I'm glad that you stopped in to say hi at least. Mubin says, so now I also want to build and paint both of those, but I am being good and restraining myself. And Solar says, you say that like anyone wanted to see the first one. All right. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I have a feeling that's going to be good for the base. I like having that little bit of contrast, that little lighter color, and I'll be able to tell what it'll look like a little bit better once that wash is dry. But until then, what do I have going on this week? So, I'm going to head out and play Age of Sigmar with Matt as a Hatter Minis, who was in the chat a little bit earlier. And Wednesday there will be a new Be Nice, or sorry, not Be Nice, Real Nice, a new Warhammer 40k Explained. It's not going to be so much a rule, but we're going to talk about tactics, and I'm going to see if people find that interesting, because so far I've only really done rules. I haven't really done tactics. So it's like a bit of an experiment to see how people enjoy that. And what else? There should be a new episode of Forge the Narrative on Saturday, and I'm also going to be editing the new podcast, The Breast General. So that should also be up either late this week or early next week. So that's what's going on. And then I'll be getting some games in as well, because I have some assignments that I have to do for the podcast. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If you have any questions for me at all, or if you need to get in touch with me, the best way to do that is through the Patreon Discord. If not, I literally have all other notifications turned off. So, yeah, you may not get in touch with me any other way. Depends how busy I get with this editing. However, I will try my best to get to you. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope you get games in if you want to get games in. I hope you paint minis if you want to paint minis. Or if you just want to go outside and touch grass, I hope that you get to do that as well, because that's one of my favorite things to do. And until next time, everybody, be excellent to one another and be nice and roll dice. Bye, everybody.